floor is yours, Ayse.
Good afternoon. Welcome to our session titled Internationalization in the Eurasian Higher Education Space, Cases of Russia, Hungary, and Turkey. I'm your moderator, Ayse Ozkan. I'm from Istanbul, Turkey. My co-panelists, Gyöngyi, joining us from Pecs, Hungary, and Konstantin, joining us from St. Petersburg, Russia. We will first share a few slides to introduce ourselves, our institutions, and just to give you a very brief introduction to the higher education system in our countries. Then we will switch to a more informal question and answer format to tell you about the internationalization stories in our countries and share some of our best practices from our institutions. Hopefully at the end of the session, we'll have a little bit of time left to answer any questions that our audience may have. If you have any questions throughout the session, you can use the chat box to pose your questions. Let me start then quickly sharing my slides. Okay. Here we go. So again, to introduce myself, I'm Ayse Deniz Ozkan. I'm responsible for global education and partnerships at Istanbul Aydin University. I have a second hat. I'm the conference coordinator of EURIE, Eurasia Higher Education Summit. Konstantin?
Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. My name is Konstantin Platanov. I'm the director of the Center for International Cooperation and Partnerships at the HEC University in St. Petersburg. And I'm happy to be here. Thank you.
Gyöngyi?
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm also very happy to be here on this session. My name is Gyöngyi Pozsgai. I am the head of the Study Abroad and Summer School Office at the University of Pecs in Hungary.
Let me first start introducing my university, Istanbul Aydin University. We are an endowment university, quite young, founded in 2007, but we have already 40,000 students. And out of these students, 6,000 or more are international full-time degree-seeking students. We are a comprehensive university. We have 11 faculties, a graduate school, School of Applied Sciences, School of Foreign Languages. We have vocational schools, and there's a huge focus on internationalization. Some of our programs are fully taught in English. We have, as I mentioned, quite an international campus with a lot of international full-time students. We are an active participant to the Erasmus program, and we run student and staff mobilities under the Erasmus scheme. We have memberships to international associations. This is a huge part of our internationalization agenda. One such institution or organization is EURAS, Eurasian Universities Union. Another one is UNIMED, Mediterranean Universities Union. And BIZINEC is another example of mostly European sort of business schools that we cooperate in. Now, let me tell you a little bit about the sort of the higher education landscape within which our university is located in. Turkey has one of the largest higher education systems in the European higher education area. We have nearly 8 million students, including the distance education, and close to 4 million students are on campus programs. I know this distinction doesn't mean much nowadays, but I'm happy to report that after a long period where when our campuses were closed due to the pandemic, we're now open and we are ongoing with the fall semester of this academic year. So Turkish universities are back on their campuses. 180,000 academic staff is employed in the Turkish higher education system overall, and we have more than 200 higher education institutions. It's a system dominated by public universities, 129 public universities, and 74 endowment universities like mine. So when we say endowment, we are not for profit. but we sort of finance ourselves through student tuition fees. That's the distinction between the public and the sort of non-public endowment universities. We have overall 60,000 academic programs offered in Turkish universities and 200,000 international students overall. So, like I said, Istanbul Aydin University prides itself for having this international outlook. These are some pictures from our ongoing sort of virtual programs. And of course, before the pandemic, again, a very multicultural campus. We are proud of the diversity of the student body and campus life. So in terms of international partnerships, what we do, of course, we have cooperation protocols with universities around the world. Erasmus and bilateral agreements for student and staff exchanges, short-term programs, Global Partners Week. We really take pride in this for sharing experiences among international office staff. We every year, if possible physically, if not virtually, we collect colleagues from our partner institutions and we share our best practices and experiences with each other. Of course, we'll talk about this later on in the session. During the pandemic, we changed all these sort of activities to virtual collaborations as much as we could. Among our partners, there are universities from North and South America, particularly Mexico, Argentina, Colombia, Peru, and Brazil. And we hope to develop these cooperations. So if you're listening on in this session, we are open to new collaborations. So let me now go over to my colleague, Konstantin, to talk about a little bit about his part.
Thanks, Ayse. Dear colleagues, I'm really happy to speak here in this session. And as the situation with the COVID and its implications is going rather moderate and somewhat difficult in Russia again, unfortunately. So I'm on air today from my home office, and so I presented several background identifications. So this, you can see here the flag of Russia, of my country. Here on my right or left is the banner of our soccer club that plays tonight in the Champions League against Juventus. And those are some pictures from our city, St. Petersburg, which is cloudy and rainy these days, traditionally fall time. Let me tell you a few words about the Russian higher education landscape. Well, Russia is a big country, a huge country actually. So we have at this point more than 4 million full-time students distributed among more than 740 universities. And we have nowadays nearly 300 international students studying in Russia and coming from a really diverse range of more than 100 countries, including all continents, basically. And the system of the modern system of higher education is dominated by the public sector and the so-called public, or how we call it, state universities, which there is a share, quite a big share of private universities, but most important and large institutions are state universities, which means that the largest amount of funds that we receive for our operations comes from the government, but also from tuition fees, research and development, and other expert fields. Just a few words need to say about the institution that I represented. If I could have the next slide, please. You can, Ayse, can I please have the next slide? Okay, so I represent the HSE University, which used to stand for Higher School of Economics. This is a modern and young university that is not really so much popular abroad as the old Russian institutions like Moscow State or St. Petersburg State universities. But this is a modern university established just 1992. We're a public, state, and internationally accredited university. We are comprehensive and multidisciplinary, And HEC University today is a top 3 Russian universities for size, freshman quality, and research impact. So just to give you an understanding of our operations, we have about 50,000 full-time students, and about 12% of them are international students coming from both Russian-speaking and non-Russian-speaking communities. The core of our development strategy is internationalization. We have developed English taught curricula, and 25% of all our degree programs are taught in English. HEC University is internationally ranked as top 50 or top 100 in best universities in several subjects. And Forbes Russia just called us the best Russian university last year and this year as well. And what is interesting about HEC University is our structure, our networking structure. So we work as a network of 4 campuses representing 1 university. So we have campuses in Moscow, St. Petersburg, Nizhny Novgorod, and Perm, which gives, all campuses work under the same umbrella of quality assurance standards, degree programs, research priorities, but this system opens great opportunities to meet and learn about Russia through different locations and different campuses. And in terms of internationalization priorities, if I could have the next slide, please. One more, please. So our internationalization goals are providing international experience for all students through study abroad, faculty exchange, and internationalization at home. Also, we work hard to internationalize our curricula and transform our programs to English. And we serve as the gateway to Russia and post-Soviet area for those students and research communities who focus on Russian and post-Soviet studies. So in terms of the possible forms of cooperation that we develop with our partners around the globe in Europe, Asia, North and Southern Americas, are direct student exchange, faculty-led study tours, joint online courses and guest lectures programs, double degree, and of course, tailor-made Russian studies and cultural programming for international students. And you can also see some snapshots of our best practices on this slide. Thank you.
Now let me turn to Gyöngyi so she can present the Hungarian higher education and the University of Pécs.
Thank you so much, Ayse. It is my pleasure to be here and introduce you all the Hungarian higher education and my university, the University of Pécs, in a nutshell. Hungarian higher education dates back to 1367, when the first university, my university, the University of Pécs, was founded. In Hungary, we have 65 universities in total, with 25,000 lecturers. We offer a very wide range of study areas here in Hungary. We have 3 levels of education: bachelor, master, and PhD. And we also have a so-called undivided master's degree program, including medical education and architecture as well. Internationalization is one of the highest priorities of Hungarian universities these days. In addition to striving towards increasing the number of international students, we are also very open to developing joint programs with universities located all over the world. We are very happy to sign MOUs for student exchange and lecturer exchange and for joint research projects as well. The total student number in Hungary is 290,000. Out of which we are delighted to have almost 40,000 international students. We continuously increase the number of the international degree programs that we offer to the incoming international students. These days, we offer altogether about 700 full degree programs, mainly taught in English, and we also have a growing number of degree programs taught in German. The Hungarian government very strongly supports the internationalization efforts of the Hungarian universities. One of the flagships of this effort and support is the so-called Stipendium Hungaricum scholarship program. that was launched in 2013, and it offers scholarship for full degree studies for students located in 80 countries on 5 continents, including Chile, Colombia, Mexico, and Peru as well. And we are delighted to have more than 11,000 students studying in Hungary these days with the help of this very serious scholarship program. As for the University of Pécs, as I mentioned before, this is the oldest university of Hungary and also one of the oldest universities in the region as well. It is a very comprehensive research-based university, and it's also one of the largest higher education institutions in Hungary. We have 20,000 students, 2,000 lecturers, and we offer a very wide scale of studies at our 10 faculties. So we have a faculty of medicine, pharmacy, humanities, engineering, law, business, sciences, health sciences, music and visual arts, and cultural sciences as well. The University of Pécs is not only the oldest university, but also one of the most internationalized universities of the region as well. We are delighted to have 5,000 international students coming from more than 100 different countries, which means that today at the University of Pécs, every 4th student is an international student. We also offer a growing number of international degree programs to our incoming international students. Today, we have more than 80 full degree programs taught in English, and we also have an increasing number of degree programs taught in German as well. We are very happy to sign bilateral agreements with universities, partner universities all over the world. Currently, we have 75 MOUs with universities located in 4 continents. We are very actively involved in the Erasmus Plus mobility program. We have 400 partner universities in the different European countries. And we are also very active in the Erasmus Plus International Credit Mobility Program as well. I already mentioned the Stipendium Hungaricum Scholarship Program. Our university is also very happy to be actively involved in this program as well. Currently, we have 1,200 students studying with the help of this scholarship at our university who represent 50 different countries. We also find university association membership very important, and we have an active participation in the major international university networks like the EUF Compostela group of universities, and we also have a very active membership in the European Digital University Alliance as well. Next slide, please. I would just like to show you some photos of our campuses and of our happy domestic and international students. If we could go back to the slide, please. Pécs is a real university. We don't have one campus, but our faculties are scattered all around the city. So we say that we never know whether the city is in the university or the university is in the city, but this really is a very friendly, welcoming, and safe university town where our university is located. Next slide, please. As I said, we are very open to various forms of collaboration. We would be delighted to increase our partnership with distinguished universities of South and North America within the Erasmus Plus International Credit Mobility Program. We are very happy to sign new bilateral agreements for student exchange, lecturer exchange, and joint research projects as well. And we are also happy to discuss the possibility of establishing a collaboration in the field of our short-term programs. We recently increased the number of our international programs by launching short-term programs. Those include, for instance, semester-long study abroad programs. We are also happy to receive faculty-led groups from our partner universities. We are delighted to organize study tours for groups coming from partner universities as well. We organize a growing number of summer schools, regular and tailor-made as well. 2 years ago, we also launched our first winter school program series as well. We are very open to develop COIL projects with our partners, and we are also open to all other forms of virtual exchange programs. During the pandemic, we developed a large number of virtual programs as well. So today we can offer partnerships about our face-to-face and virtual programs too. We are very proud to say that for our internationalization activities, we have received various awards. We have twice received the Erasmus Quality Award, and just a month ago, we were delighted and honored to receive the EAI Excellence in Internationalization Award as well. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Gyöngyi. One last slide from me, and I'm here representing at this conference EURIE, which is Eurasia Higher Education Summit. I would like to invite the attendees at this conference to come and attend as well the Eurasian Higher Education Summit 2022 in the beginning of March next year. We are going to organize it in a hybrid format. So 3 days of virtual programming on a virtual event platform just like this one, and also 3 days of simultaneous on-site programming in Turkey. There will be 50+ sessions online, plenaries, keynote speeches about these trending topics in international education. There will be a virtual exhibition area with more than 100 stands to develop academic partnerships and various business opportunities. And for the in-person participants in Istanbul, there will be special face-to-face activities such as workshops, roundtables, campus tours, fam trips for agents as well. So this would be really, an interesting, I think, opportunity for universities. If you are considering developing your academic partnerships with universities from the Eurasian region, it's a perfect opportunity to get to meet us and start sort of new collaborations with universities from the Eurasian region. I'm going to stop sharing now because we don't want you to be looking at slides the whole time. We just want to sort of proceed with a more informal question and answer format. And I'm going to chat with my co-panelists. I have some questions prepared. The first question is the internationalization sort of recent history or story in your countries. What were the main drivers of internationalization? Were there important regulatory frameworks or important national policies that sort of provided the impetus for your internationalization efforts? How were these formulated? With what sort of rationale? I want to first start with Gyöngyi maybe. I suspect, Gyöngyi, that Hungary being such an active part of the European higher education programs like Erasmus, you probably have these sort of European incentives behind your internationalization efforts. Let's hear from you.
Thank you so much for the question, Ayse. Yes, as I said, Hungarian universities are very actively involved in the Erasmus Plus mobility programs. As for the original Erasmus Plus program, we have about 6,000 incoming students annually, and we also have about 5,000 outgoing students per year with the help of this mobility program. And we also have a growing number of lecturer mobility, staff mobility as well. And we are really delighted that the Erasmus Plus International Credit Mobility Program was also launched. That offers us a wonderful opportunity for various forms of collaboration and mobility with universities located outside of the European Union. So every Hungarian university is very actively participating in this program as well. One of the recent initiatives of the European Commission is called European Universities Initiative, which means the support for universities located in the European Union to form an alliance with the aim of establishing transnational European campuses. And Hungary is one of the most active member countries in this initiative as well. We are involved altogether in 11 different European universities alliances. In addition to that, as I mentioned before, the Hungarian government strongly and very effectively supports the internationalization efforts of the Hungarian universities. So in addition to the already mentioned very serious and very popular Stipendium Hungaricum scholarship program, the Hungarian government recently launched another very effective scholarship program that's called Hungarian Diaspora Scholarship Program. And it also offers a full degree scholarship opportunity for students with Hungarian identity from all over the world. They can apply to this program. We also have a very effective national agency here in Hungary called Tempus Public Foundation. And they also play a major role in supporting Hungarian universities in their internationalization efforts. So they help us participate in various international student recruitment fairs all over the world. They support our participation there. They also support our attendance on various large international conferences all over the world. They organize us conferences, workshops, and help universities to share their best practices in internationalization. And they also have a very effective initiative that's monitoring the internationalization level of the Hungarian universities. So a couple of years ago, they started to conduct an audit, an internationalization audit of Hungarian universities to help them monitor and evaluate that which level they are at and how they could develop their internationalization efforts. So I would say that Hungarian higher education is very internationalized, but we are never satisfied with the results. So in addition, as I said, to focusing on international student recruitment, because we know how beneficial it is to have international students at every Hungarian university, we are also, for full degree programs, we are also very open to establish new collaborations with distinguished universities from all over the world. So I'm very happy to be here today. Thank you.
Thank you. Konstantin, let me turn to you and ask you about the Russian case. Has there been a strong national policy that emphasized and shaped the trajectory of internationalization in your country?
Yes, thanks, Ayse, and thanks, Gyöngyi, for giving this kickstart to this interesting discussion. Russia, it is widely believed that Russia has its own way. In the Soviet times, in the late 20th century, Russia or Soviet Union was a major, actually top 3 player in the international education market, attracting many hundreds of international students, mostly from Central Asia, Africa, Southeast Asia, and Latin America, to receive higher education degrees and PhD degrees in the Union. And now, after some maybe 15 or 20 years break, Russia is trying to get back on this field as a major player. As I mentioned in one of my slides before, the number of international students studying in Russia in last year was about 300,000 students, which puts Russia on 6th or 7th place in the world among the most demanded international students destinations, very close to Germany, France, and Japan. And the rationale behind this, there is indeed a strategy, a government strategy on the national level, and also institutional strategies in place. And the rationale behind those strategies is mostly about soft power. So the Russian government was consequently rolling out several policies and excellence initiatives through the last decades in terms of internationalization. So the first and the most impactful so far was the so-called 5 to 100 project launched back in 2012. And the aim of this project was to bring at least 5 Russian universities into the top 100 of best universities in the world. And I'm happy to say that by the end of this project last year, 2020, Ayse University was among the leaders of this project, and actually 6, 7, or 8 universities made it to the top of the international rankings. The idea, so the rankings was only the measurement, and the idea behind this project was to support the internationalization of the universities of a rather small group of 21 universities located in different but mostly large Russian cities. And the behind the scenes activities of this project was a huge financial support provided by the government to the universities to support the activities in 4 pillars: hiring international faculty, international marketing and promotion, participating in study abroad fairs, conferences like CAI or EIE or NAFSA, raising the internationalization of research, and also attraction or recruitment of international students. So that project ended in last year and is believed to be quite successful. And then last year, 2020, the government rolled out a new national initiative focused on international students with the goal to double the number of international students starting in Russia by 2024. So our goal is 500,000 international students by 2024. And to reach this goal, the Russian government is providing quite a huge number of scholarships every year to international students to allow foreign citizens from basically any country and any region to come to Russia and get a degree for free. And I'm happy to say that the annual number of these scholarships was just increased from 15,000 to 30,000 starting from 2021. So now the opportunities increase, and this scholarship also includes it covers tuition fee, it covers accommodation, and a rather small but still a scholarship to cover some part of living expenses. And then there is the brand new nationwide initiative called the Priority 2030 that was launched just a couple of weeks ago. This is a new national excellence initiative to aim to support a larger cohort of universities. So over 100 of higher education institutions in Russia are now participating in this project. This Priority 2030 does not have a certain focus on internationalization. It has a multiple points to support different types of universities: research universities, metropole city universities, international universities, and smaller universities in smaller cities. But again, the internationalization point is strong, very strong in this project. For instance, I can say that the number of international students is one of the major KPIs, not the number one, not the only one, but important one inside this project. So Russia, as a state and as a government-dominated and public sector-dominated higher education system, puts a very high value on internationalization.
Thank you, Konstantin. Let me tell you a little bit about our experience in Turkey. Turkey is relatively a latecomer to internationalization. In the early 2000s, Turkey joined EU as a candidate state, but we were fully participating in European higher education programs. So at that point, really, it was the sort of the supranational European level sort of incentives to internationalize for universities. Indeed, many universities in Turkey opened their international offices officially for the first time to participate in the Erasmus program in the early, let's say 2004, 2005. So Erasmus was the main sort of impetus for this, and Erasmus and other sort of European funding schemes remain the most popular sort of international programs, especially for mobility of students and staff in Turkey up to this day. But starting in the 2010, there was a shift in emphasis from sort of study abroad programs from Erasmus to full-time international student recruitment. And this was due to a number of, maybe reasons. And one is very similar to what Konstantin was saying. There was a government sort of policy behind internationalization of higher education, again, to sort of exert soft power, to use this as a sort of diplomatic tool. And to exert, let's say, Turkish sort of influence, as it were, but in a friendly way and in a cooperative manner, not just to its sort of region, but in a global way. So there are, for example, just like the Russian and the Hungarian case, there is a big Turkish government scholarship program. Again, providing full-time studies with stipends, fee waiver, accommodation, a lot of cultural sort of orientation programs or Turkish language teaching added to the beginning of the program. So very much sort of similar in that respect. But there was also another sort of reason behind this push, and that came from really the private sector. So endowment universities like mine, who depended on student fees, saw this as an opportunity to increase and diversify their revenues. So they really sprang to action, and in the last 10 years, they were very active in recruiting full-time international students. Also, the Turkish, Council on Higher Education, which is the overall sort of agency for higher education management in Turkey. It's a central sort of agency with really high powers of auditing all the universities, etc. They sort of made the international student admissions criteria much more flexible. This was the main hurdle before, right? So before 2010, 2011, there was a central placement test, just like local students, for international students, which didn't make sense at all, which made it very hard for international students from different regions to come and take a test in Turkey, or a few embassies around the world. So this was the main hurdle. As soon as this was lifted and it was up to the universities to determine their admissions criteria, suddenly, our student numbers really took off. And in fact, in the last 10 years, only from 20,000 international students, we are now at 200,000 international students. So a huge jump. But it's interesting, Turkey is now one of the top 10 destination countries as well, number 10, according to UNESCO statistics. And you still see that, where do these students come from? There is a sort of regional focus here. Countries that are our neighbors, basically Syria, Iran, Iraq, etc. But also, again, countries in our vicinity with whom we have linguistic, ethnic, religious, cultural ties, such as Azerbaijan, Turkmenistan. Again, these are the main sort of sending countries. There are also countries in Europe where there's a large population of Turkish people, heritage-wise. So Germany, Bulgaria, we also get students from them. Most of these students study at bachelor level programs, English medium programs. But, despite all this sort of growth, there is still not one government agency responsible for promoting Turkey as a study destination. So it has been an overall sort of government policy. It was the private universities really, forming associations or NGOs among themselves and lobbying the government, coordinating their actions. So, for example, if you go to an international education conference and see study in Turkey, the promotion of Turkey as a study destination, this is usually organized under these NGOs or private universities. So it's not a government initiative. So that's also very interesting. And in that sense, the rationale behind sort of this full-time student recruitment has shifted from sort of political concerns to really economic ones. So we hope that this trend will continue. Turkey has high sort of ambitions, just like Konstantin was saying, huge target numbers for the next 10 years. So we'll see how the pandemic will play into that, but that's for us to see in the near future. Now, I want to pose another question for my co-panelists, and I will come to this issue of the pandemic, right? So there's been a huge impact on the international education sector overall, and I'm sure in the internationalization agenda in your country. So again, let me start with you, Gyöngyi. How has the global pandemic affected internationalization in your country and in your university?
Thank you for the question, Ayse. Well, we had to change for online education in 2 weeks in March 2020, and I think all our lecturers did a wonderful job in that. And ever since then, we have been developing our online education. Right now, we are lucky to have face-to-face education, so students are back on our campuses. We are very happy about that. But still, we are really proud of all our achievements regarding digital education, how suddenly it all came to us, and how well, I could say, we all managed to adapt to it. In addition to the degree programs, we also developed a number of virtual short-term programs as well since the pandemic broke out, and I would be very happy to talk about them in details later on if we have the time. As for our students, most of them stayed at our university when the pandemic hit us, so they choose not to travel home, but they decided to stay with us. We were very happy about it. Of course, we had to develop new student services during the quarantine as well. And we are very happy to realize that pandemic did not very much affect our international student recruitment. So we almost have the same number of applicants this semester or this year before the pandemic broke out. And I think this is partly because students are eager to study abroad, to leave home and study somewhere and learn about the world and have a study abroad experience. So maybe pandemic has had their need or their desire to do so, which is, I know, quite controversial. Because we all know how tragic pandemic was on us, but still it had some positive effects as well. Another positive effect, if I may mention, was the large number of new collaborations that we could develop during the pandemic. You might have all noticed how eager lots of people working on internationalization were during the lockdown, that, okay, we cannot meet in person, but let's at least do something together virtually. So surprisingly enough, the number of the new collaborations we could develop during the pandemic was higher compared to the same length of time before, and we are really pleased about that. And we introduced lots of new, not only virtual programs, but new online channels for international student recruitment and also for establishing partnerships for international networkings as well.
Thank you, Gyöngyi. Konstantin, can you elaborate a little bit yourself on the impact of the pandemic?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. This is a so much wide and dramatic topic. I think we could have the entire session, not enough to discuss all the aspects of that. But generally speaking, I would strongly agree with Gyöngyi, and all the implications and results are at our side more or less the same. So I would say that our first reaction on the closures and all the restrictions was a shock. And we in the international office, we were thinking that, oh my God, what should we do now? Close everything and go home. Well, we literally went home because the university was closed, remained closed, the campus remained closed for nearly 1 year. But then slowly, as we were adjusting to the new normal reality, to all those hybrid and online things, we suddenly learned out exactly what Gyöngyi said. So that things were not so bad as we would imagine in the first stance. So in terms of the international admissions, I would say that we have faced a backlog in numbers this year, but last year for the 2020 campaign, we did the same success and more or less the same numbers as the year before, 2019. So surprisingly, so many students agreed to enroll to online studies, to start their studies online, absolutely hoping for the offline opportunities to come soon. Unfortunately, some of those students, especially in the master level, do not have the opportunity to come to Russia and experience the on-campus life up till now. But still, yeah. And if we talk about the student mobility in terms of the numbers of physical outgoing mobility, this year we have about 65% of the pre-COVID level, which is very high. And I would say that the rest of this 100% are doing their mobility in online format, so quite successfully. So actually the number of students receiving international experience through various forms of mobility, including virtual mobility and distant learning, has increased. And actually, generally, the range of opportunities was quite widely expanded, embracing a much wider, which provided us with the opportunity to embrace a much wider community of students here on campus and also international students to benefit from the campus experience and from international learning experience, which otherwise we probably could not do. So, like summarizing this talk, I would say, and my saying would be controversial again, as Gyöngyi said, that we are somewhat thankful to the pandemics. Definitely not for all the restrictions and the implications and the other problems, but you know, every crisis is a kind of window of opportunity. So it seems that we managed to use this window to kind of sneak into a new world that provides not the same, different, but a wide range of opportunities for collaboration. So we are rather optimistic. And this year, all campuses of HSE University, and basically all university campuses in Russia, started the new academic year in face-to-face mode. Still, most international students cannot enter Russia. They are waiting for visa invitations, but also the level of hybrid tools and online tools just open up so many new opportunities for collaborations. And I agree with Gyöngyi that during the pandemic's international life did not stop. It was boiling all the time, and maybe sometimes even more than in the previous years.
I would agree with you. Our experience in Turkey was pretty much the same. We pivoted to online education in 2 weeks, although this was considered sort of quite secondary, you know, in Turkey before the sort of the online education. But in 2 weeks, we did that very quickly, you know, 200 universities doing this in 2 weeks. I think that was great sort of resilience on the part of the higher education sector overall. In terms of the international offices, yeah, we changed everything that we did to sort of virtual programming, virtual exchange program, online summer school, online winter school. And also we really benefited from virtual programs offered by our partner universities. So I was able to send actually more students virtually, you know, to partner institutions and to non-traditional destinations, South America or Southeast Asia, where most of our, you know, students before the pandemic would not be able to go, right? So in terms of, I think, access and inclusion in global learning in study abroad programs, this was really a positive outcome of the pandemic. This sort of disruption brought about virtual, innovative sort of programming for study abroad and really opened sort of new opportunities for our students and for students of our partner institutions. So I think that was like really positive on our side as well. And I think also for, yeah, full-time student recruitment, initially there was a lot of concern. We had just picked up momentum as a country. You know, we were afraid that international student mobility in the world would sort of drop drastically, which would then negatively impact our sort of future targets. But that didn't happen. Fall intake in 2020 and 2021, we are pretty much on the same level. Yeah, last year, many of our new recruits, you know, new students could not make it. They followed their courses online. But this year, travel restrictions have lifted pretty much from many of the sending countries. So our students, international students, are with us. We are trying to sort out the vaccination situation. So if they are not vaccinated, they're able to get vaccines. In Turkey, we have a tent on campus right now, vaccinating local and international students who haven't been vaccinated before. So, I mean, we had to work really, really hard, probably double our efforts to keep the, you know, recruitment numbers the same, but we did it. And the Council of Higher Education provided a lot of flexibility. We lobbied the government for these things a lot. So we really, really worked double, but we achieved the same results is what I'm saying for full-time student recruitment. Well, we are nearly out of time. So I'm just gonna go like one more round and just ask if you can share, Gyöngyi, Konstantin, some very sort of concrete examples of best practices from your institution to share with our colleagues here. But keep it very brief. We are running out of time.
Yes,
Gyöngyi?
thank you for the question, Ayse. Well, as for the pandemic times and the programs that we have developed, I would start with saying that I can say that we very soon acquired a resilient attitude already in March 2020, and we were really eager to explore what's out there in the virtual world. And we had a feeling like, when, if not now? So we were absolutely open and ready to develop a large number of virtual programs, including online summer courses, online winter courses. We organized virtual workshops, study abroad fairs. We started a virtual internship program with an American partner university. We launched several COIL projects with American and Italian partner universities. We even launched a semester-long online study abroad program as well in European studies. So what I see is that the number of possibilities in the virtual world is infinite. We just have to be brave to try our ideas, and most of them work. And one of our main goal with organizing online programs was to to try out if we can build a community online. And I can say that, yes, it's also possible. So we had wonderful international student communities coming together during the pandemic times. And since then as well, now that we changed for face-to-face education. So I think we will definitely keep some of our virtual programs in the long run as well. Yeah. And this is one of
will be hybrid, right?
Yes, hybrid too. But this is a topic I think we could all talk about for another 2 hours. So let me pass it on to Konstantin.
Konstantin, how about you? Just a few concrete examples in 1 minute.
Yeah, so I totally agree and support what Gyöngyi just said. The future is hybrid already, and there is no way back to those old good times. We have been quite successful in developing joint online courses at our end. And this is probably what we are eager to do in future with new partners. And the other thing is a very interesting project that we call Conversations on Contemporary Issues. This is a non-credit bearing cultural student exchange, virtual exchange project that we did already 3 times with the University of Indiana in Bloomington in the United States. And we are just about launching this project one more time. Unfortunately, I would love to, but we don't have much time to reveal this project in details. Just shortly saying this, the aim of this project is to give the students the cultural perspective that is missing, mostly missing in the virtual exchange and distant learning. So we just take together groups of students and let them go through a unsupervised journey of conversations about their daily lives and other activities. And we just about to launch it for the 4th time, which means that this project is really successful. And we really want to engage in this kind of projects more and more, especially with countries that where mobility is not very easygoing for us, like Latin America or the United States. So I cordially invite the universities and institutions where Russian studies or Russian language studies are in place to join us for this kind of projects.
Excellent, thank you. We have something similar, Konstantin. We do virtual exchange semester and the summer school and winter school online. But in addition to the course materials, we try to include a cultural element. So we provide webinars on Turkish culture and language, also sort of more general in intercultural awareness and intercultural communication skills, to simulate the sort of the study abroad experience, that cultural immersion aspect. And I agree with both of you that beyond this pandemic, hopefully physical mobilities restart, but we want to keep using some of these virtual collaborations that are in place. The future is hybrid. Again, for our students, a very successful initiative came from our partners in South America. Many of our students, in Istanbul Aydin University students, took online Spanish courses offered for free virtually by our partners in South America, and we were very happy to promote them. And again, I call on the universities here, if they are offering virtual language courses in Spanish, we would love to promote them to our students. We are out of time, unfortunately, but thank you to our audience for your attention. And I would like to thank my 2 co-panelists, Konstantin and Gyöngyi, for sharing your knowledge, your insights, and your best practices from your institutions. I'm Ayse. I'm representing EURIE here. I have a booth in the virtual exhibition area. So if you're interested to ask questions, to come to EURIE, Eurasia Higher Education Summit, please drop me a note in the exhibition area. Thanks again. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye. And stay well.
Stay safe, everyone. Yeah.
Thank you. Bye-bye.